Yo, what is going on, people? Welcome to Throwdown Your Questions, episode 373. I'm your host, Tony Polanco, and tonight I'm joined by Emilio Lopez,
Why, hello there.
Chris Seeley,
Hey, what's up, everyone?
Carlos Romero,
Yo, yo, yo.
Brett Murdoch,
Greetings, Tarnished.
and Brian Manjoma.
What up, what up, what up?
Carlos, you disappointed me, man.
How you doing? How you doing?
Yeah, that's what I wanted. you know?
Don't think I didn't contemplate doing that. But I'm like, I'll let it rest for a week.
Yeah. No, I was waiting. I was waiting for it. You know, it didn't happen. All right, man. How's everybody doing out there? You know, hope you guys are not getting killed too much in Elden Rings. You know, I already see the chat's already talking about Elden Ring. This is crazy. You know, and I'm pretty sure that's why we only have 7 listeners. You know, motherfuckers are playing right now. You know.
Oh, no, we got bumped up. We got 13 now.
Oh, yeah, there we go. Right, a delayed reaction. You know. We got to do this.
People being summoned.
People summoned. Yeah, you already know. What we're going to be talking about tonight. You guys were asking about it. Actually, I believe last week we were asked if we're going to be getting Elden Ring. So now the question has been upgraded to: is Elden Ring a masterpiece?
Oh,
because that's the chatter right now. So yeah, anyway, the game came out. We talked about it on the Thursday show. 98 on Metacritic, blowing up everywhere, fucking people up. The game. So let's just talk about it for like 20 minutes. By the way,
97.
Yeah. By the way, Bilbo Swaggins. Thanks to Chris and Brett, I was finally able to beat that motherfucker, man. Finally, I can start the real game. So yeah,
can I start with a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can you guys? So, and this is we'll get to overall thoughts, but I don't want to forget this question.
Oh,
can you? Because I haven't summoned anyone yet in the game, and obviously, in the older games, the older Souls games, whenever you summon people and you beat a boss, they disappear.
That happens.
Same. God damn, man, this ain't a masterpiece. Fuck this game.
But there's a interesting thing about it. That's only when you defeat a boss.
Yeah, with a boss. Yeah,
mini bosses they stay with you.
Do they though? Because I faced a mini boss with someone and they disappeared.
Well, if they have a name, they're not a mini boss.
Yeah, exactly.
They're a sub boss.
There's a
difference between a mini boss and a sub boss. But I mean, here's the thing.
Yeah, if they're
named,
super
easy. Yeah. It's super easy after you beat one to like just pop over to the other side of a threshold and resummon your people. It's not tough.
Yeah, it works exactly the same as before.
From what I'm seeing, it's a little way easier even this time to get somebody in there now.
To me, it felt exactly the same. It felt like it's like you got to put the network code, your personal thing. You got to put the slash down on the ground. You got to summon. It's like okay, it works exactly the same.
Yeah, except it works.
Yeah,
all
it
the
does
time.
work. Yeah, most of the time, and 98% of the time. It's sometimes it kind of fucks up.
Now here's the other thing. It is not that much easier. It's just more reliable to summon a friend in now. I think where people are saying it gets easier is the overall summon system with people who aren't your friends. Hugely improved. They have these new summoning pools now, where you can I could just put down a sign literally anywhere in the zone, and anybody in the zone who needs help, my sign will get pulled into these kind of like little summoning pools.
Yeah.
Near their area. So I could just sit in a central place in the middle of the map and just drop my sign and just help people all over the zone instead of having to go to here and put my zone in front of this boss door and go here and put it in front of this boss door. Most of the time now, it's kind of cool because it's like picking random. I don't know what boss I'm fighting. I just know I'm going to be pulled in somewhere in Limgrave to help somebody fight something.
Yeah, in that essence, it's the same. But like from my experience, just playing with you guys, I'm like, it's exactly the same. But no,
with random, it's way better.
Yeah. No, that's pretty cool though. Anyway, thoughts. What do you think about this game?
Does nobody want to go first?
Yeah,
I'll go last since I'm the one that least played it.
Yeah. I guess it's a fight between Chris and Brett.
Oh, I'm loving it. Like I didn't realize I've been exploring the map. I didn't go through Stormvale after I killed Margit. I just decided, hey, I'm going to run out in the world and see how far I can get. And that little black square, it just keeps expanding. It just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. The map is enormous, and there's like so many caverns and dungeons, and there's bosses just hanging out in the field. Like I turn a corner and there's a death bird, or I turn a corner and there's another giant guy on a horse. It's holy crap. So there's the scope of this one is like all of the Souls games mashed together. It's like so immense. But the combat is very polished. There's a lot of variety now. They've taken a lot of learnings, like from Bloodborne and Sekiro. I noticed that in this game.
You can jump.
And you could jump on command. You could do a little hop. So that's interesting. And that's the thing from Sekiro. Like Sekiro could do that. You could jump. So they took that, there. And then the thing with the lightning straight out of Sekiro. Like if you stand in the wrong spot, you just get blasted. There's so much going on in here. But do I think like it's the perfect game? No, like no game is perfect. So it's kind of weird, like all these 10 out of 10s. I know that would be blasphemy. Again, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. I got to jump in on that because even though I've only just beaten the first boss, I've played like a good 12 hours. Listen, man, no, this ain't no masterpiece. It's just a really good game. Again, but we talked about that on Thursday. Says people have to exaggerate everything, but because to me, I'm playing like, oh, it's just a regular Souls game, just in an open world. It's the same shit. Which is good. Which is good. I'm not complaining about that. Just like I said about Horizon. Oh, it's more of the same shit. But it's just in an open world. That's the only main difference. Like at its core, it's still that same experience. All your experiences, with the previous games carry over as far as like play wise. So yeah, it's the same thing. Again, you're a Souls fan. You're gonna love it. If you're not a Souls fan, you will not love it. Like I know some people say, oh, this is the game. It's gonna give me this. No, it's not. No, it's not. If you didn't like the last ones, you will not like this one. Yeah.
I've known a few people who've gotten into this one who weren't able to get into the previous ones, and I think the big deal is the accessibility is better in this one. Not because the game is easier, because it's not. It's easier because if you get fucked up in an area, you just go do some shit somewhere else for a while. Level yourself up. You don't have to slam your head to that wall until the wall gives anymore. You have options now, which I feel like it changes a lot of stuff. For the better, definitely. But yeah, you no longer have to just keep doing this or keep doing this or keep doing this or log out and throw your controller. You can just be like, okay, well, I'm gonna go over here. I'm gonna go explore this. Maybe I can go kill some guys, collect some souls. Maybe I'll find some items. It's in my opinion more accessible without being more difficult, which is a really tough balance to strike. So I'm kind of pleased that they did it. I will go out on a limb here and say I do think it's a masterpiece. But there's some caveats that come with that. Like, number one, let me put it this way. I agree that this is very possibly one of the best games I've ever played. Now, that being said, you have to look at it for what it is, right? I love Souls games. I think that Souls games are very well designed. This is the best Souls game in my opinion. So it's kind of only natural that you'll be like, well, yeah, this is one of my favorite games. But you don't say like, this is one of the best games of all time. You're like, yeah, this is probably one of my favorite games. In a good long time. But that's what gaming should be, man. We should be going closer towards that apex, not drifting further away from it. So while I do agree with a lot of the sentiment of how much people are enjoying it, I don't think that just because it's a really good game, or even one of my favorite games, means that it's a perfect game. And I think that's a distinction that we need to make more. Just because it got a 98 doesn't mean it's perfect. It just means
that's what people think.
Pretty good.
Yeah,
well,
that's how pedantic shit is.
I agree with what you said. Like, that's my argument. It's not a perfect game. There's no game that's perfect. No game is impossible.
Yeah, people need to fucking chill.
Yeah.
It's a very good game. It's a very good game.
Well, it's for my playstyle and the things that I like, it's not a perfect game, but it's about as close as we're gonna come to one. It's up there with other games like Red Dead, in my opinion, which had some really cool stuff. Not perfect, but Red Dead's a good example actually. When you hear about it from people, you're like, oh, so this is the second coming of Jesus. No, it's just a really good video game.
Yeah,
that's it.
Bilbo Swaggin says not to tell him not to chill because he thinks it is a masterpiece. Hey, listen, if you want to think that, that's cool. I'm just saying it's not. It's just another Souls game. It was just fine. It was just fine, you know?
I'll say this from almost 2 hours that I've put into this game. And as someone that is not a Souls fan, I've noticed, I saw another trend when reading these reviews. I read a lot of reviews going out, and obviously all of them were saying, I hear someone.
Yeah, right.
Someone's all these people are giving them 10 out of 10s. But I remember there's one pattern that I saw in all of them, and all of them were Souls fans.
Yeah.
I'm guessing all of the people that reviewed this game, they were like, okay, so who's going to review Dark Souls? Well, let's give it to the Souls guy. And all the Souls people ate this shit up like it was a fucking what is it? Peter Luger's fucking steak.
You know, man, we gotta have them as sponsors. That's the second time we've mentioned them. You know. No, but I agree with you. I mean, that's what happened over at my site. Tom's guy was like, "Hey, we got Elden Ring. Who wants to review it?" Everybody was like, "Nope." You know.
Well, a lot of people didn't want to review it because they're Souls fans too. It's a really weird place to be.
Yeah. So the only guy that reviewed it was the hardcore Souls fan. You know.
So I feel like this is cater made to them, and it has enough change for it to feel new and refreshing.
Hold on, Carlos. I gotta stop you. You know, I'm a fucking asshole.
Here comes
you mix two things in one.
What I do?
You either want to say cater to or tailor made for. Understand? You said catered made for. That's not a phrase.
Are they similes or can I?
You know, I mean, you could kind of say, but like when it's the game, you could say this game is catered to or it's tailor made for. Understand?
It's tailor made is a better use of the word from what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
This game is tailor made for the people that love this game, and it has enough new aspects and new features with the open world to make the game feel sort of new and refreshed than as what the other games were doing. Because the other games, even to the people that I talked to, not Brett and probably not Chris, because I haven't heard it from them, but you know, Souls was getting to the same formula, kind of back and forth. You know, even with they remade a game that already came out, so you know, having this open world adds to the franchise. It makes it feel new. But for me, I feel like this is a better Dark Souls because it doesn't feel as claustrophobic as the other games were, and that's kind of what I didn't like the most about the last games. I'm like, it was like a narrow path like game. Like whenever you entered a world, like you felt like you needed to go one direction or the other, and this one's like you can go anywhere. That's the more enticing part of this game for me. Everything else, including the shitty summon system to get the multiplayer, is still intact. So it's a great game. I don't, as far as I've played, I don't see any faults in it, except some stuttering that I've seen, and it's like at random times too. But nothing that's happened throughout like a pretty big fight so far. So I can't get too upset at that. But yeah, pretty good game.
Yeah, it's good. You know, but I gotta say this: the one thing I don't like is the open world. I'm like, oh, come on, man! Like, can you? I want the traditional funnel me through the like levels and shit. Like I like it is like when I got there, I'm like, oh my fucking god! It's like it's like Breath of the Wild. You know, it's like it just throws you in, into the middle of this shit, and you're like. Thankfully, the bonfire.
Whoa!
What?
We can't just graze past that.
I can.
Was that an ironic comparison or an unironic comparison?
It was a backhanded compliment, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'll take it.
Yeah, but again, actually, no, it could be a backhanded insult too. It depends, you know. But it's the same reason I never liked the original Zelda from NES. I'm like, what the fuck is this shit? Tell me where to go, you know.
It does tell you where to go. Each of
the bonfires at least tell you, like, yeah. But it's like at the same time, but it's like, you know what I'm saying.
It tells you where the golden path is. Man.
Yeah, it does. But it's like, but there's other shit on the map that you need to look for it. And you know me, I'm like, give me a fucking marker.
Oh,
please.
no, I mean, you can stay on the golden path.
You know, but I want to see the other stuff. Understand?
So that's your fault. That's
it is. But didn't I literally just say that? It's a Tony thing, you know?
Let me ask you. I understand that you want that. For you personally,
yes.
There's no wrong answer here. would it be as satisfying finding things if they were pointed out to you?
Yes, because I didn't have to waste my fucking time. Understand? I didn't have to waste fucking 3 hours to find a cave. It's like, hey, there it is. I prefer that. Like, I don't have any patience. I really don't. The older I get, I have less patience for this shit. And I think that's why I was fucking me up with this game, because I'm trying to play like a Dark Souls. I got to Margit in 2 fucking hours. I got on a horse. I'm like, where's this motherfucker? Let's go to him. You know. But this game's not meant to be played like that. But yeah, basically, yeah. Kishak says that I want the tour. You know. Like, tell me where all this shit is, you know.
Oh, I'm
working on. I'm working on it.
Chris is building it.
I'm collecting all the maps. That's why I went exploring, because I have to show people where to go. I'm like, oh, this is where this is. This is where this is.
So I'll probably enjoy this game a lot a year from now after Chris has finalized the tour. You know.
Hey, Chris.
Yeah.
Question for you, because I found myself in kind of doing the same thing. Do you find yourself just doing and enjoying things to like digging into an area and be like, I can't wait to show the guys this area? Like I feel like I'm going out doing like wildlife research so that I can go back and start a safari business.
Yeah, it's good, especially what I'm trying to key in on is like where the important fights are and where the important items are. I'm like, oh, I found this talisman here, I found this sword here, I found this here. It's like, okay, so now I know what this is, and then I'm just right, because the map is huge. Like, it's freaking huge, and even they fool you with the little square. You think, oh, okay, most maps, the black border means there's no more map, right? It's the edge. No, they fool you, because if you keep running up, the square gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and the map just keeps expanding. And I haven't unlocked the full map, and I kept riding north as far as I could, and I still didn't get all the way up.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, this is veering from that conversation. So if you have something to add to that, I'll go.
Okay. I just wanted to point out, like, I meant to say this. I've been constantly fucking surprised about how this game is open world, and yet the level flow, the verticality of level design, and the way that they place enemies is no less Dark Souls than it ever has been before. Because when I first heard about this game, I was like, cool, so we're getting open world. How is that going to change the way that you approach and having to do the same enemy set over and over again? They're going to lose that Dark Souls sense of, you know, wash, rinse, repeat kind of thing. But no, everything is still dense and convoluted and laid on top of each other as it always was. And I'm just shocked by this.
So I got into the one situation, and I want to see what you guys think about this. So, and I know there's probably going to be 2 camps to it.
Oh,
there's going to be the Tony camp, and there's going to be the Brett camp, and Chris might go to the Brett direction for this. So
I believe you're looking for Get Good.
Well, it's kind of related to that. So I started off the game, and then I go traverse the world. I get owned by this dude mounted in a horse, and I'm like, damn, this is right off the gate. All right, so I'm gonna go to a different direction. So I go a different direction, and then I get to a part where I see like this kind of some ruins, and there's just like a whole bunch of NPC enemies, and then I just beat all of them. I kill all of them, and then I find a what are they now? Graces. I find a grace.
Just call them bonfires, man.
Bonfires. I find a bonfire. I go to the bonfire, and I'm like, the first thing that came into my mind, and I'm still not sure what to think about it, whether I should be excited about it or not. I get to the bonfire, and I'm like, there's a whole bunch of NPC enemies, and I could probably farm here for a little bit more before I continue. And there's my dilemma. I'm like thinking, is that a good thing? Like, should I be worried? Like, should I be excited to farm on these dudes because I know that it'll greatly help improve my chances to progress the game, or should I be disappointed that I can't keep moving forward because I need to grind on more enemies before I can continue and have a shot?
No, be fucking grateful, man. Anytime you get a grinding spot, fucking go for it. That's what I do.
No. I'm saying, should I be happy about being forced to do it?
Well, think about it like this, right?
As an experience,
you're either going to spend 3 or 4 hours grinding on these guys, or 3 or 4 hours trying to beat this boss. Either way, you're going to lose all this time. May as well spend it grinding on the guy, so when you get to the boss, you can kill him. You know what I'm saying? So I'm grateful for shit like that. I'm always trying to find the perfect grinding spots, in any like when you get into RPG, you find that town, you're like, oh, there's a bunch of high level enemies. Let me go fuck these guys up, come back to town, heal, go up, do that over and over and over again. That's great. I understand what you mean. Like it does hold you back, but you're gonna be hitting your head against the wall, like against bosses, if you don't level up. So you got no choice,
Yo, man, I had to kill some poison turtles, man. I didn't feel good about that.
It happens, man.
The grinding also helps too, because now in this game you can sell things.
Yeah.
So drops help because you might find better armor pieces, you might find better weapons, and then those leveling up will help you further on in the game. Because remember that first boss, even though he's hard, whatever comes after him is even harder. He's the first guy. I know they're saying like, oh, if he's the litmus test, and I agree with that. He's the litmus test for the game. If you can't handle this guy and get past Margit, then it's like you're wasting your time. You got to figure it out, and then you open up the whole world. But the other Elden Lords that you have to kill are going to be just as challenging or even more challenging. Yeah. And then there's always an enemy they stick in there. It's not a boss. It's like always optional. Dark Souls 3 had it too. It's a fucking dragon that's like the size of a apartment building, and it's about the challenge, right? But you have to work towards it, right? So don't fret about like grinding or whatever. Like I grind on those giants. You see those?
Yeah, man.
I don't know if you traveled and you've seen those giants walking around. Yeah, I killed them.
Yeah.
Because I'm hoping one of them drops their sword, because their great sword looks really cool, and two, they give you a lot of souls. So it's like it's totally worth it. I go up, I farm them, and I go level up, right? And then that helps you in the long run. That helps you fight other things, because there's other things in the world too. There's just NPCs hanging around. When I rode north, there's NPCs. I hit them, and I'm like, all of a sudden I'm doing like 2 or 3 damage. I'm like, shit, I was beefy before, and now I'm suck when I'm up here. So it helps you.
Yeah.
By the way, man, Carlos, man, that night, I was just walking around literally as soon as you start the game.
Yeah.
I was that baby from that meme. I walk in, whoa, it turned right the fuck back. I hit him like, I took no energy. With a fuck back.
I saw that guy. So I see that guy, and I'm like, just looks intimidating. I don't even know what his HP is, how strong he is. He looks intimidating, and I'm like, man, let's get ready. It's about to go down. And I'm like, let's see how I do. I get one shot at the first time, and then the second time, like I kind of see what he's trying to do. So, I dodge and shit, and fucking shooting all these fucking light beams at this motherfucker, not doing hardly any damage. Like almost 10 times I'm gone. I'm like, all right, I got him to 65% of his health. All right, that time to move on. This guy. He's probably gonna be like someone that I need to fight later.
Yeah.
Well, and that's
go ahead.
Oh, that's what the game is telling you. I mean, the thing about any Souls games is that they're quietly teaching you things. Through environmental cues, but even more through like just basic gatekeeping of, can you do this yet? What do you need to do this? Is this the time for you to be here? And that thing's there to give you a mode of humility and teach you that sometimes you just need to fucking run. And it does a pretty good job of that. Like, I always thought it was cool how they just, because every Souls games has, the first couple zones are like that. It's like, very good. Now you're going to have an enemy that you have to parry. Can you parry? And you're like, nah, but I've been doing well so far. And Souls is like, yeah, but you're going to need to parry to get past here. And eventually you have to. One thing I want to point out though, in response to your original question, is I'm not in the other camp. I absolutely think you should take advantage of a grinding spot, but my reasons are a little bit different. Because this happened to me. I'm imagining you were at the Gatefront ruins where there's all of those guys, and I'm pretty sure that's designed to be a little bit of a kind of a farming area. But here's the thing. So when you sit down to farm, a couple things are going to happen. Obviously, you're going to start killing people. You're going to get the experience. You're going to be able to level up. But as Chris said, gear's going to drop, and that's going to make your life easier. But the big thing that I noticed, because it happened to me all over again, because I was a little rusty until shit clicked again. I went back there and I started farming stuff, and I go back there now with just about every new weapon, because you really have to know your weapons. Like, you have to know that shit inside and out. You know, how far, how fast, how easily can you dodge out of an attack kind of thing. So going and farming those areas over and over and over again makes you familiar with both your weapons and the mechanics of the game. So you'll find that, yeah, you'll get souls, you get runes, and you'll get experience. But more importantly, you'll get good, and that's kind of what that saying means. Like, until you internalize it and understand why you're having problems, you can level up as much as you want. The game, you're not going to be able to beat the game with just a super high level character. You still need to know how to play. For instance, you need to know how to dodge through an enemy attack using the invincible frames in the very middle of that to negate damage that you could have taken. You need to learn to, because we just had this last night, right, Chris? We had to learn to, this game does blocking ever so slightly different. So you run in, you throw your shield up, you run in, and you have your shield there. It catches your first blow, but you still have to roll out of subsequent ones, or you're going to get stun locked and absolutely destroyed. So there is kind of a method to it.
Yep.
Yeah, the thing that pisses me off that I've noticed it's a habit sometimes. I accidentally press square sometimes, and I'm like, God fucking damn.
Oh yeah, that happened to me too. It sucks. All right, let's move on because we do have other questions that are not about Elden Ring. Although the next one is. This one's kind of interesting though. This one is from Mob Hits. He goes, with Elden Ring being hailed as the greatest video game that has ever been, of this generation, hyperbole there. Will FromSoftware finally be given the respect it deserves, or does it still need to prove its power? Keep in mind, if Elden Ring wins Game of the Year this year, it'll be 2 in a row because Sekiro won. But FromSoftware already has the claim. It already has the recognition.
And Bloodborne won Game of the Year too. Bloodborne, and then
I don't know,
the next year, but the year after that, it got Sekiro, didn't it?
Yeah, Sekiro. He's talking about the official Game Awards, Jeff Keighley Awards. Sekiro won. So yeah, I don't understand. Mob Hits, if you're there, you could explain a little bit. Because I'm like, they've been hailed for years, Like ever since Dark Souls, people are like, "Yo, FromSoftware is the shit," I'm talking about like a wider
cult now.
Yeah, I think after Sekiro, like that game sold 8 million. They're pretty fucking mainstream now.
For games like this, they define the genre. Everything's the Dark Souls of this, the Dark Souls of that. It's a term. It's like it's almost like Photoshop. It's in the zeitgeist. Dark Souls is a term now for a game genre or a hard game in another genre.
Exactly. Yeah. So that recognition's already been there. Like that's why I kind of argue it started with Dark Souls, the first one. It became a meme, But like
became a verb.
Yeah, it became a verb. Yeah, basically,
I think this is the point where it's hit critical saturation, though.
Oh yeah, Sekiro did. It's like 8 million. Like So that's why this game blew the fuck up. People were ready. Well,
we were talking about that. Like, you kind of see this exponential growth. Like, for every person who plays a Souls game and enjoys it, they're gonna get a friend to try it. Probably just one. So Dark Souls 2 had exponential, twice as many as Dark Souls 1, and Dark Souls 3 had twice as many as Bloodborne, and Bloodborne had twice as many as Dark Souls 2. Like, I know it's not actually twice as many. It's just easy math because
it keeps going up, basically.
Yeah. It keeps doubling, basically.
It does. Yeah.
I think at this point, with Sekiro, there was a good chunk of the gaming population that gave it a try. With Demon Souls 3, a lot of people had heard about it at that point. Just by the time Demon Souls 3 came out, everybody had a friend. Sorry. When Dark Souls 3 came out,
wouldn't it be Demon Souls 4 officially?
I'm getting confused with all these names.
If we're counting Demon Souls.
Yeah. Everybody had a friend who had played it. And so I think that I'm kind of torn with Sekiro because I feel like Sekiro reached out outside the normal Souls audience a little bit, did something a little bit different, and gathered its own audience. And then it came back with this and just kind of pulled the threads of everything it's done for the last decade. And I think at this point, I'm trying to think. Out of every gaming group that somebody might have, somebody in that has played Elden Ring at this point. We've reached that point where everybody has a friend who's tried the game. It's no longer something you've heard about on the internet. Somebody who's playing it.
And also, do you see the Twitch numbers? I mean, Brian could probably tell us right now, but it's number one. It's been number one since it came out on there. And the number of people watching it, I remember the other night it was like over 500,000 people watching. That's nuts for a Souls game.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, so it's like the recognition's already there, man. You know,
It's the number one game right now.
yeah,
Yeah. See, that's the third day in a row.
yeah.
Third night
From
or fourth
Software has
night.
been trending all day on Twitter. You know, so yeah, that lets you know right there. Okay, let's move on. Next question here. All right. Also mob hits. Oh, hold on, I got the wrong question ready, but this is a very interesting one. Because I didn't even consider this shit, but I'm like,
Oh,
you might be onto something, Mister Mob Hits. Basically, the question is, okay, do you think the bad blood between Nintendo and Sony is the reason that Nintendo is not allowing Super Smash Brothers in this year's Evo tournament,
All
which
right.
is something else? I never even thought, I'm like, oh shit, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, that's the first thing Kristen told me that, and I was like, yeah, because Nintendo hates Sony. That makes perfect sense. And we've talked about this before, Tony. I've told you the stories of setting up for E3, and they will not use Sony products internally. Like even televisions, even though Sony had superior televisions, they'll buy Panasonics to put up in the E3 booths.
Yeah,
right?
just because they don't want to deal with Sony.
Yeah. So yeah, it makes sense. I remember they take up 2 slots at Evo. It's the Melee guys will not stop playing that game. So Evo had to give them 2 slots: the slot for the current game and the slot for Melee, because they won't stop playing it. Now Nintendo's like, nah, no more Smash Brothers. Period. So it's that's exactly what it is. Because Nintendo always pays for that slot. They always want that slot in there. They always want Smash Brothers. Because it's that slot gives them kind of residual income, right? For like sales on the game, people to get people interested. That's why you want that in Evo. So to pull it out is huge. That's how much they just don't want to deal with Sony.
Yeah. So
go
ahead.
It's funny because it's almost like like the new wife, getting mad at the old wife, even though it was their fault.
Yeah, that's a good analogy. Yeah.
Oh, hold on. We may have to do a history lesson here. Jay Shep goes, "Hey Chris, I didn't know this never-ending beef, dude. We got to go back. We got to have a little history lesson here, don't we?
Oh yeah.
Chris, you want to do it or should I? Actually, you worked at Nintendo, so you may as well say you got to go back to the whole Super Nintendo CD.
Nintendo CD, yeah. So, way back in the SNES days, Sony was commissioned by Nintendo to create a CD add-on for the Super Nintendo, and the project was called Super Nintendo CD. What Sony didn't know while they were developing this, and they actually had working prototypes and stuff, and actually recently a guy had it in his attic somehow, and it went up for auction. The Nintendo made a backdoor deal with Philips because they were actually scared, and I think guys like Miyamoto and stuff did not trust Sony, and they went and made a deal with Philips to do a partnership, which is why Philips made those crappy CDI games.
That's right.
So he did not trust the media. He did not trust CD media because of piracy, and he did not trust Sony. Even though they had worked with Sony before, Sony is the reason the Super Nintendo has amazing sound, because Sony's audio chips are in the Super Nintendo. So this partnership made sense. It's like, okay, they're going to make CD hardware and extra graphics and whatever to add on to the Super Nintendo. And Sony did not find out about this until that year's E3. I don't know if it was like 96 or CES.
It was the CES, yeah.
CES, Nintendo got up there and said, we have a partnership with Philips to do interactive CD stuff, and they're going to make these Zelda games and Mario games, and we're going to partner with them. Sony did not find out till the world found out. That was a fucking like backstab of his, historic proportions, like where one game company just did another one dirty like that. So after that, Sony did not have any dealings. They took the learnings from the prototype, and that's how the PlayStation was born. It is the Super Nintendo CD just advanced to the next level to be a standalone system, and that's how they created the PlayStation. So Sony entered the gaming market only because Nintendo stabbed them in the back to go over Philips. right? So that's where that beef comes from. So the point that Manny made with the old wife being pissed off even though it wasn't their fault, Nintendo was the one who caused that situation in the first place. So that animosity from Sony is justified because Sony's the one who got backstabbed and ended up taking the lemons and making lemonade, and then Nintendo got pissed at them for entering the market. And it's like, yeah, but you created that situation. You created PlayStation.
Yeah, exactly. So, isn't that ironic? Like Nintendo created the entity that would eventually destroy it in the gaming industry. You know. And by the way, guys, because I'm actually surprised a lot of people in the chat right now didn't know this. Everything Chris is saying, this is not based on rumor. This is all documented facts. All of this, you know.
Yeah, I mean, there's documents. You could go on YouTube, look up the CES that Manny's talking about. I forget what year it is. You can hear the conference. You can hear them make the announcement that they're working with Philips and that the whole Sony thing was just thrown to the wayside.
Yeah.
Right then and there. So the thing is that animosity has never ended since then.
Nope.
It's been since the 90s. Yeah. And then the point I made was internally in Nintendo, they were not allowed to purchase any Sony products. And back then, Sony made a Vaio PCs, they made laptops, and obviously still today, they make televisions, make all sorts of electronics. So they did not use anything Sony made. Nothing. If Sony made it, they didn't touch it.
But like some of the things, like certain types of DAT tapes and stuff like that, I think they probably did have to use, right, Chris? Because Sony was the only manufacturer of those specific things.
Well, like beta tapes and stuff, because who else was making them at the time? And then beta, obviously internally for TV and stuff for commercials is superior quality, so they did use that, But anything they could avoid, they avoided it. And like I mentioned, the TV things, like obviously I think the Bravia is a better brand than the Panasonic. Nintendo would rather buy Panasonic TVs for E3 and never touch a Bravia in their life. And so it makes sense. It comes all the way down the line. Something as simple as Evo. Sony buys Evo, and then they now want nothing to do with it. They pull out.
Yeah. Again, I didn't, really have time to think about it. Oh yeah, that makes perfect sense. That makes absolute perfect sense. That bad blood still exists. I realize it's like what, fucking 30 years later, but it's still there. It is still there. Take it how it is, man. All right. Move on here.
And I have one more story.
Oh, and one more thing.
Just a short thing. I used to, when I went to work early, in the first year I was working there, I used to bring my PSP to work. I would get comments constantly. It's like, oh, why do you play that thing? Why do you bring that thing here? Hey, it's because I enjoy it. That was my answer. It's like, oh, that's how hated it was.
Wow. That's why. Yeah, nothing. And then, I mean, you even told us shit about how, like, you couldn't bring up what the competition was doing either.
Oh, I would mention Xbox. Yeah, and they would tell us, like, oh, we don't look at our competitors or whatever. Like, basically, shut up. Don't tell me what Xbox is doing.
It's crazy.
I gotta say, Chris, I have never heard a more Batman-esque origin story for something like that. Like, it's like one of his villains. Like, oh yeah, it was just some mild-mannered scientist working in a lab until Batman got into a fight, kicked him into a vat of acid. Now he's a supervillain fucking up Batman's world, and Batman has the audacity to be mad at him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. By the way, quick correction: Sony is not based out of California. PlayStation is. There's a difference.
That's right. Yeah.
Sony's still based
Sony's
out of
Japanese.
Tokyo. Yeah, they're still Tokyo, right? I believe they're based out of. Yeah. So it's a correction there. Sony is not PlayStation. All right.
Oh, isn't it SOA out of there?
Sony of America, yeah, but no, it's not. That's Sony of. I mean, Sony of America has a headquarters,
Sony
obviously, but like the mother company, is based out of Japan.
Yeah, no. I know it's based out of Japan. I thought it went like mother company was in Japan, then there's Sony of America, and then PlayStation. Their headquarters is here under Sony of America. Is that not right?
No, PlayStation has its own headquarters.
You're thinking of Nintendo of America. That's the American reservation. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, there you go. Let's move on. Next question. What? Assyrian Air Force. All right. Can Sony? This is an interesting. It's a speculative question, though. Can Sony fix Project Spartacus If it fails to deliver at launch, will Sony release a PlayStation app for TVs? Sony already did that already. The PlayStation app on TVs. For Sony TVs though. But here's the thing. Like again, we don't know how this thing's gonna land, so we don't know if they could fix it. So I don't know. It's just a pure.
Are you asking if they can course correct before they stick a landing that they may regret?
No, he's asking if it comes out and it's not received well, can they fix it after the fact?
He's not asking can they fix it so when it comes out it will be receivable.
No.
The way I look at this is like, yeah, they're headed towards launching something that's just not going to compete. That's going to be a bad look. So it's a different question whether they can fix that before it launches or then try and.
His question is for after
reactive.
the fact. That's why I'm like, I don't.
Being reactive? No, man. Like, I don't know, man. Gamers hear something and they kind of settle on it then and there, and then it takes for fucking ever to get us to change our mind. We are a stubborn, closed-minded lot.
This is very true. So
a superstitious and cowardly lot.
yeah. I guess that's the only thing we can say. If it doesn't launch right, it's going to be very hard to course correct for sure. And then again, we already said this. Sony has a track record of just like abandoning shit if it doesn't take off.
Like a lot of things, a lot of their situations is the usual Sony toe dip or PlayStation toe dip. So this is a more active toe dip that they're doing on this one, but it's the usual thing. So if this thing starts to do some numbers, then they'll start to effectively push it more. What was the PlayStation VR? PlayStation VR was a toe dip that did better than they expected, and then they started to put even more effort into it.
Yeah.
Any one of those things that they've ever done has ever been a toe dip.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It was a successful toe dip. Shout out to Mob Hits, man. 100 bits. Appreciate that. Yeah, there's not really much more. Again, it's a totally speculation type of question. There's nothing we could add. All right.
So to go back to again, toe dips. Even PlayStation Plus was a toe dip. When it originally started, PlayStation Plus was garbage. All it had was free. What did they call it? Game trials, and it didn't have the free games every month or any of that sort of stuff. But as the time progressed, they saw what the competition was doing and started to try to improve it. So now that they have that free games every month with your subscription.
Yeah.
Thing.
All right. Next question, also from Assyrian Air Force. Will Steam Deck popularize hybrid consoles? Nintendo Switch already did that, actually. Nintendo Switch did that. Yeah, I know, but it's Nintendo. Go ahead.
Just we always say Breath of the Wild. Ironic, as a joke. Breath of the Wild inspired everything.
It did.
Well, but what we can say is that Switch pretty much inspired Steam Deck.
Oh, absolutely. And those other knockoffs that came out in between them.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so it already happened. And then the other part of the question was, will Sony and Microsoft release their own version of a Steam Deck? Sony, I don't think they're going to go back to that. They're not going to go back to
handhelds.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And I don't think Microsoft's interested either.
Yeah, I think they're since their last one didn't do amazingly, I think they're not going to do it. But I mean, here's another side question: would Sony ever decide? Okay, you know what? We can make. What if we were to make a deal with Steam or Valve to essentially bring the PlayStation app, their PlayStation app, or even Microsoft bringing their application to that platform?
Well, we already see Valve said they're perfectly happy to have Microsoft put Xbox app on there. They want it to happen.
Well, there you go.
So there you go. And Sony, PS Now already works on PC, so. So it won't be too much of a stretch for Sony to try to bring it over. So I think that'll be the route they do instead of them trying to make their own system. They'll be like, yeah, our games are on Steam Deck now,
Mm-hmm.
And again, Sony has this push now where they want to have their games on more platforms. Our boy Jim Ryan said that. So yeah, it's possible. If the only portable PlayStation you'll have is a Steam Deck, basically.
Yeah. Hold on. I just want to say, Sony will half-assedly support PC at best. So that's going to be kind of a half measure because they historically don't play along real well with PC.
Well, I mean, again, they're getting more games on there. You know, they are trying.
They're getting more games on there, but like most of the time it's 6 months to a year later. Still, like it's not. We can't pretend that Sony is.
But they're still getting them. That's my point. Understand?
No,
they're still doing it.
It's better than we used to get, sure. But that's one of those things where like I'm not going to be an apologist for treating the PC crowd poorly. It's not cool in my book. But
it's funny. It's funny how like you're like is the
wait, how are they treating the PC poorly? They're giving them games.
They're actually giving them games, unlike fucking Nintendo, who's not giving them fucking shit and literally suing the fuck out of anybody who makes a fucking emulated any sort of emulation for the damn thing.
Yeah,
I mean, yes,
that's more dick than Sony was doing.
Nintendo is awful, and like you can't even do whataboutism with Nintendo because they're just so far out there in left field. You're like, I don't know, man. They just like. Whataboutism doesn't normally work, but especially with Nintendo, you're like, oh, well, they don't give a shit about their customers, so.
I mean, buying.
No, I just think it's unfair to say, oh, Sony sucks at PC. I'm like, they're doing.
No.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, yes, but to put to compare them, you know, and I hate to engage in whataboutism myself, but to compare them to their only direct competitor in that space, which would be Microsoft, or the only analog, I guess, not even competitor. They really just kind of toss PC a bone every once in a while. Like, yeah, we'll give you God of War eventually. Like, that's not... If you as a company want to start having your service spread across multiple platforms, you can't blatantly favorite one like that. It's just not going to work. I think.
Remember, it's going to take a while. They're not suddenly going to just like everything's going to be on PC. And remember, Microsoft's already, they are PC, so obviously that's an easier transition or whatever, or easier to have it on there. But Sony, they still got to work their way to it, And I think they're not doing like the greatest job, but they're doing a job of it at least. Think about it. We got Death Stranding relatively fast, like 6 months later.
And it's actually a better port than the Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah, and the God of War one was highly praised. That port, And we got Uncharted's coming eventually, this year. So they're getting in there. They're trying their shit out because they obviously don't want to hamper their main moneymaker. The PlayStation.
Well, yeah, it does seem to.
Just going to what you said, Brett. You said they're favoring one platform. It just so happens to be the one that they created.
Yeah, so they're going to favor their own, obviously.
Yeah, but I mean, like, okay, let's just say it then. Like, Microsoft doing that shit.
It's the same thing. Microsoft, it's the same shit.
Microsoft did it Microsoft did it off of necessity. Remember, they released Halo Combat Evolved in PC, and then they just decided to get rid of Halo for the rest of the next two generations until they got desperate.
Yeah, when the Xbox
they got their thumbs fucking broken to do it. I still got what I wanted in the end.
No, but you're saying that it's like a standard. It's not. They did it off of necessity, and Sony isn't a PC company. They're doing PC.
Ironically enough, yes, they are.
Also,
yeah, you need to
Sony
explain this.
Sony builds PCs. It's one of the things their company was founded on doing. Yeah, of course they used to.
Line died out.
But that has nothing to do with PlayStation.
They don't make
the
operations.
Sony is not a PC company.
Yeah,
Sony is a PC company.
Sony is not an operation company, PC company. It's not. They're not the same as Microsoft in general.
So you're telling me I go to the computer store. There's the Dell. There's the Asus. There's the Sony, right?
At least it used to be that way. Yes.
Yeah, there was the Sony Vaio, but the thing
is, they make laptops.
Yeah, they make laptops. They make desktops.
I'm pretty sure they used to make desktops.
Yeah, well,
yes.
They don't anymore.
Well, they don't anymore. But the thing about it is that like that business, the PC business, wasn't there. That was one portion of their business, whereas Microsoft PC is their whole business.
Yeah, Sony is not a PC company. That's what we're trying to say.
And the thing is that they're seeing their Xbox division and everything. Anything in their game division as one specific division as part of the wider thing that is Microsoft and Windows.
I know.
Whereas
look,
Sony doesn't have an operation system that they're doing. They're working with. They're not creating sort of a specific ecosystem that links every single one aspect of their company.
You guys, I was being cheeky. All right, you said Sony is not a PC company. Yes, they were. Microsoft never built PCs. That was the only point I was making. Yeah. If one of these two was a PC company, Sony was not a PC company. They made PCs. They weren't a PC company.
They made hardware. They didn't make the software. So
Yeah,
Microsoft has made the software since the beginning of this whole PC gaming.
And that's why it's called Microsoft. It's a software company, not a PC company.
Yeah, micro hard.
That's why they're not micro hard.
You know. Anyway, yes.
Really
Go ahead, Brian.
About the Sony Vaio. It actually got sold off in 2014 because of poor sales.
Yeah,
that was their. That was part. That was part of their. When they were essentially trying to make the company more profitable, and they sold off a lot of their different brands.
Yeah, but isn't that? I mean, it's kind of like saying Sony's not a television company. I mean, kind of. Yeah, they are.
But that's just one of the things they do. They're not.
I know. Yeah. I know. But I'm saying for something that at least that they used to have a hand in, I would expect them to be a little bit more involved. And yes, I agree. Microsoft did it out of necessity. But
Sony has never been fully involved in their hardware. You know what I mean? Like they make the tape player and not the tapes.
But why does that matter?
Why does it matter?
If we're talking about as a company, it is close. It shares a space with PC. Like
I would say that Brett, the reason why they don't, and we've said this before, they don't want to undermine the thing that the hardware that they're currently creating, whereas Microsoft just sees it all as one.
Well, no, I think
it's like, in other words, it's like it's again, I feel like it's just them just not trying to undermine their own business. Now, if their business strategy switched around toward a more open system like what Microsoft is, where essentially they're just responsible for creating software and that's it, and sort of uniting a lot of it, I think that would be a different thing. But I don't think that because they're making so much within that space, I don't think they want to undermine it by essentially releasing essentially a superior version of a console game at the same exact time as the one that they're supposed to be on their supposedly superior console.
No, I get why they're doing it. And I'm just kind of shining a light on, I think that's where the conversation actually sits more, is their approach. Whereas, Sony is guarding its ecosystem. That is its product. Microsoft is making a platform. And that's why it's doing what it's doing. And of course, they're both doing different things. But are they equally good for the consumer? And if we're really if we're talking about something that's a PC, essentially selling PCs here, like Sony has always had one foot in the PC market. And yes, that's better than nothing, but it's also worse than 2 feet.
Yeah, for sure. But again, they're at least trying to get these PlayStation games. And I'm going to just refer to the chat here. They said we got off topic, which we have. So,
well, yeah, the point I was trying to get to before I kind of got sidetracked was Microsoft, being that it is a platform and not an ecosystem, is not worried about console sales. So, of course, they're going to very happily be like, yes, you go ahead and make the hardware, which is where we usually take a loss, and then we'll do all the stuff that normally makes us money. So, are they going to come out and say, is Microsoft going to come out and compete against themselves and shoot themselves in the foot so they can take a loss selling more hardware? No. They don't need to. They're a platform.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. All right, this one is also related to Steam. This is from Tumeke, who's been joining us tonight. The chat. All right, he goes, what are the Throwdown crew's thoughts on the Steam Deck now that reviews are landing? Are there any changes to hype, or are your thoughts unchanged? I haven't seen any of these reviews, and I purposely will not look at any reviews until I get the Steam Deck myself. So I don't know if this thing's being trashed right now. I don't know if it's being praised. I legit do not know. So please let me know. I honestly don't know how this thing's being received.
There's been a couple of things, a couple of guys saying it's not finished, which I don't believe that they should be saying that at this time, because there's still quite a bit of things that they need to do on top of it. It's still a review. It's still an early review model. But then again, people are getting Steam Decks right now.
Yeah, they are.
Gabe Newell is literally fucking hand delivering them in Seattle. Anyway,
right? Motherfuckers lost weight maybe from delivering all those Steam Decks.
But I think it's been like some people are saying that's very good and something. at least Digital Foundry did a very extensive review on how games are actually running, and it's pretty much as expected. In the range of 1080p to 720p. Running with most or some of the bells and whistles. It's essentially powerful enough to run a PC game within regular parameters. Not like super maxed out, but
Quick
it'll
question.
run good.
I don't mean it to sound like I'm going to talk shit here, but I feel like there's no way to avoid sounding like it. I promise I'm not. What's the context in which these kind of performance reviews are being taken place, in the sense that we all know that having a PC requires a little bit more effort than just throwing a game in, pressing play, and going. So, are we judging this thing by the same parameters which we would usually judge a PC, where we give that a little bit more leeway, or are we judging this like we would say against what the Nintendo Switch does, where it sucks but it always works?
I don't think I think it's beyond sucking, but because it definitely runs things better than a Switch does. But it's not. You're not going to be getting full high end.
Well,
With it.
I mean, in terms of like stability and performance. So, like, a lot of times when you get to build a new PC, right? Like, how often and how much do you really need to fuck around with drivers? I mean, fuck, even just having the graphic
It's
card that you have, whenever you buy a game, you usually have to spend the first little bit kind of messing around with it, or at least you used to. Maybe things have gotten better. So if you have to then say, like, jump into Steam Deck and be like, "Wow, this game isn't playable right off the bat. This thing sucks," or do you expect to have to put the same amount of time updating drivers and
it
setting up
seems
things?
it seems to be fairly plug and play from what a lot of the reviews seem to say. But obviously, if you want a better experience, you can start, getting under the hood and start moving things around, moving sliders around to get the best experience. And then they also, at least Digital Foundry said that there is, they don't know how much of a bottleneck that it has, but remember that Steam Deck has what is it? It runs on a Linux OS, and it has to run that other program in there to sort of run PC
Proton.
games. Yeah, Proton. So they don't know how much. They haven't. They said something about a bottleneck in there, but they don't know how much of it is and how much of it will improve in the final version.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of reviews and they've been fairly positive, specifically about the performance of the games while they're running. They mentioned like sort of like the controls, I think one of them even tried Elden Ring. So, like Manny mentioned, they're essentially 720p, 1080p games, medium to high settings, which is pretty good. I think Digital Foundry even compared it to sort of PS4 performance. And yeah, I think one of the bad stuff about the reviews is battery life. I think is one of the things that I've seen, and also the screen just not being OLED or something like that is another thing. Other than that, I've heard good things about the controls. I've heard good things about the performance of the actual console or the system while it's playing the games. And yeah, I'm still excited, but I wasn't expecting to get it anytime soon because, you know, gaming coming to Texas.
So, hey,
So,
by the way, Blitz says that that it lasts 90 minutes, so it lasts about as long as a gaming laptop. Then unplugged. That's how long they
Well,
typically last.
well, no. Okay, that's not quite right. It depends. Again, it depends on the game that you're playing. So I think he's referencing the Digital Foundry video where they said that yeah, if you're playing like a very intensive game, then yeah, it will last around that time frame. But if you're playing something like an indie game, then they've seen up to like is it 6 hours?
Oh
Like
wow.
playing some games. But I think that was I don't remember which game it was, but it was in the idea or in the realm of Shovel Knight type game. So
Yeah.
so yeah, again, performance will vary for obvious reasons.
Makes sense. But
So
yeah, we'll see. Again, because it's possible. I'm not saying this is locked in stone. Possible I may review this thing, so that's why I'm purposely not looking at any reviews. I want to come into it clean, you know. So yeah, we'll see. Either way,
on
I'm
the
getting my shit. It just kind of doesn't matter. I'm getting it regardless. Go ahead, Brian.
From the stuff that I've seen, it's pretty much exactly what I thought in terms of everything else. Again, battery, I didn't expect it to be anything like changing the world. I thought, okay, this thing will last like 3 hours or something. Like it's a freaking it's a phone battery. Batteries have not really improved in like the last couple of years, so I don't expect anything to change on that front. And performance-wise, it's pretty much what I expected. It's like, yeah, this thing will probably be in the region of like PS4 type performance, but of course, if you can tweak things, set things down to low, you can maybe get like a good frame rate and stuff. Okay, fine. Given the specs, like this thing is like 15 watts of power. Like thing
Whoa,
is, yeah, like it's ridiculous. Like
that's
I don't
crazy.
understand where the power comes from.
The
Yeah,
APU,
it's
right?
just yeah, it's so low powered. I'm like, how the hell do you even get
Yeah,
that?
how does that even work? How's that possible? Wow.
That's yeah, that's just the weird thing. So yeah, it is exactly what I thought it would be, given the specs and the price points and whatnot. Everyone's been really raving about the controls and how it's like, hey, this thing gives you so much control and you can everything is nice and easy to work with. Okay, great. Yeah, as Carla said, the screen's not great. It's more like an indoor screen. It's just kind of there, which is again fine. I don't really care. The one thing I'm excited to see, which I've not seen in any of the reviews yet, is how well it works as a Steam Link device. So being able to stream your PC games to your Steam Deck, because that's what I'll be doing. Because I have a 3080, so why the fuck not?
There you
Oh,
go.
dude.
There you
Yeah, it
go.
makes sense. I'm at home because I'm not going outside with the Steam Deck because why? So I have a PC, boot up the PC, play games like Maximum Ultra, and then stream into the Steam Deck and get like amazing games, amazing performance.
Or you can just play them on PC if you're home.
Yeah, but then I'll have to like get up and get to the chair and say I don't want to do that. Like
Yeah.
maybe I'm in bed, maybe I'm in the bathroom, maybe I'm in the
Eh,
garden.
makes
You know,
sense. Makes
Maybe I'm in
sense.
the rooftop.
Yeah, Brian, what's up with the rooftop parties, man?
coming soon.
All
Me too.
right, man.
Yo, that's a confirmation.
That's a confirmation, yo. Yo, by the way, you see Hip Hop Gamer, he's playing Elden Ring with cheat codes on.
He is.
Yeah, and some guy invaded his game, so he's doing. He said he was offline, but some guy invaded his game, and he won for obvious reason. The guy couldn't hit him. He was taking no damage. So,
Yeah, that's not cool.
That was an NPC.
oh, was it an NPC? Okay,
Yeah.
he got really hyped about that.
About
because he was
being
playing
invaded or
offline.
beating him.
No, about beating the guy. He's like, yeah, you come in my game, I'm beating you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
no.
It's like,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh man. Anyway, let's move on. The hell are we? Oh, hold on. I missed a question here.
whoa,
Or
whoa.
almost missed
Oh.
a question. This one's kind of officially the last question of that, but we got a couple of extras as well, so we'll probably go through those. All right. Let me set this up real quick. Also from Tumeke. All right. Are there any upcoming games with confirmed release dates that you are super hyped about, but no one cares about? I know I'm not the only person hyped for Gran Turismo 7, but given it's a sim racer, the general gaming public is indifferent. I'll take Gran Turismo 7 over Horizon or Elden Ring any day. Oh, controversy right there.
I mean, he may like cars.
Yeah, he likes cars. Yeah, by the way, that's another one. Gran Turismo 7, I was offered. I'm like, yeah, I'm good. That's one thing I said to myself. I'm never going to review a single racing game ever again. That was torture when I was doing that shit at PC Mag.
Unless it's
Burnout,
one,
unless it's Burnout, then you already
yeah.
know I'm going to be on top of that shit. But like a regular racing game that's not Burnout, no, I don't want to fucking review that shit anymore.
you do an F-Zero.
Nah, let somebody else do it. I don't care about Nintendo. What's the question? Oh yeah, games. Here's the thing, because we live in a bubble sometimes, so the guys in my circle are hyped about this game, but I don't see a lot of talk about it. That fucking Ninja Turtles game, man, I want that shit. But that's not a confirmed release because it was.
No, it doesn't.
It,
still
that
doesn't.
shit don't count then.
They
Fuck.
just been showing previews and things of it.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, because
yeah.
because I was thinking about this question like a couple of days ago. I was like, yeah, there's not really anything. I mean, God of War, that's not even that's not confirmed yet. For this year. But yeah, other than that, God of War, I don't see anything I want to get this year. This year looks grim, just like last year, you know? So, I don't know. I guess we'll have to see. I think it's just, something we have to deal with this generation. Like, this generation is not going to get good for a while, because of all these fucking delays or whatever, So, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't fucking know. The Ninja Turtles game was the only one I was hyped for, but then it's like, who the hell knows when that's coming out,
The only game that I can think of that I'm looking forward to this year that has a definitive release date is
that no one's hyped about. Yeah, that no one's hyped about.
Starfield, but people are hyped for that, so
Yeah.
it doesn't really count.
He says confirmed date or not. Okay, Ninja Turtles for me then. No one's really talking about that outside of my crew, obviously, But yeah, but again, I was thinking about it's like, damn, this year looks fucking barren like last year. Last year was terrible,
Yo, man, new Pokemon out this year.
Oh, fuck that shit,
Yo, by the way, they are they releasing the Pokemon every year now?
Probably.
It pretty much has become an annual franchise, right?
Yeah.
Like the Arceus was last year. The year before that was,
it was this year.
Sword and Shield. I mean,
was this year. It was January.
Oh, so there are 2 this year.
I know.
You're right.
Yeah, they released Pokemon Atreus or whatever the fuck it's called.
Atreus.
Oh, man.
But it seems like they're leaning on Pokemon really hard. And it's funny, Carlos, you notice, like, still no Zelda news, no Zelda nothing.
Oh, I saw people talking about
Pokemon.
that. So today was apparently Pokemon. I didn't even know that was a thing, but apparently it's been going on for like 26 years. But people were like, wait, there's a new Pokemon game coming out this year, another one. Does that mean we're not going to get Breath of the Wild? You probably are not.
Well, the thing about it is that it's a different studio that's making those Pokemon games. That's not all Nintendo.
Well,
right?
I mean, this Game Freak doing the Pokemon games, right? But in that time, they were able, like, think about it. 2 years ago, Sword and Shield dropped, and now they did this Arceus game. Now they're doing a whole new Scarlet Violet game, right? That's going to drop the end of this year, and it's been how long since Breath of the Wild? We're at 6 years, right? 5 years.
5 years.
2017.
5 years. Yeah. So 5 years. Somehow using the same engine. It's a sequel to an existing game. So you have the map. You have a lot of the assets. You just have to construct new stuff. 5 years they haven't been able to do that. Somehow they did this with Ocarina of Time. Turned around in 1 year. Turned around Majora's Mask. But we're still at 5 years. We haven't seen anything. There was only 2 trailers in 5 years.
Since 2017, we've had Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, which was just sort of like a repackaged Sun and Moon that came out the year before. Then the next year is Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee.
Mm-hmm.
Then Sword and Shield. Then Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. And then Arceus. And then they're going to do Scarlet and Violet, the new ones.
Yeah, and they doubled up this year because Diamond and Pearl, they outsourced that. And that was a holiday game. And Arceus came out in January, like Brian said. And then, so Scarlet and Violet comes out in holiday. But, it's like, so all those Pokemon games in the same span of time, in 5 years. Zelda game with Breath of the Wild, launched with the Switch. And that's it.
Listen, if we follow the usual cadence when it comes to these Zelda games, the Breath of the Wild 2 will be like a launch game for the next Nintendo system and also come out on Switch. That would be the 3rd game in a row, right? If that happens. Because that happened with Skyward Sword. That happened with Skyward Sword. That happened with Breath of the Wild.
Twilight
Remember,
Breath
of the Wild was on the Wii U. People forget that shit.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a double.
With, Twilight Princess.
Twilight
Princess was double. Mm-hmm. Yeah. GameCube and Wii.
Mm-hmm. There you go, then. Oh, by the way, real quick, my colleague or former colleague Jordan Miner, he replied to my tweet about Nintendo Smash. I didn't know this. Nintendo's launching their own fighting game tournament.
Well, of course they are.
They'd have to. Yeah, they have to.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. There you go. It has to now. Where else are you going to play Smash Brothers from 1996?
knowing Nintendo, they're not gonna allow 1996 Smash Bros.
You never know. They'll put those guys in a corner.
No, they won't do that, man.
No, you're right. They're gonna pimp the new one.
It was even a problem to get it into Evo, getting the old ones into Evo.
Yeah. Well, the only reason they got it into Evo is because those fans kept screaming to Evo guys like, "I just shut these guys up, put them in a corner."
Yeah.
Because again, I've said this a million times. Smash Brothers has no business being at Evo. That's not a real fighting game. It's a party game.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on here. All right. Now we're gonna get to some bonus questions because we still got a little bit of time here. All right. Dumeke. All right. Is there a genre that you used to love that you now cannot get into? Currently, I'm struggling to play through Horizon Forbidden West, and I'm thinking I might just park it for a bit. The main reason is that is not so much open world fatigue, but I'm just not enjoying the map being littered with icons. First, tall neck, hammer that home. It might be my OCD. Elden Ring is sounding good, but I suck at Souls games. Actually enjoying Pokemon Atreus a lot more than Horizon.
You can get rid of the icons on Horizon.
Yeah, you can. You could get rid of all of them, dude.
It asks you before you even start. It says, "Do you want to play with?" I forgot what the verbiage was, but essentially it says, "Do you want to play with a whole bunch of quest icons and map icons or none of them?"
Yeah, so you can disable that.
But here's the thing about that: like, you can disable it, and I've tried to do so before as somebody who likes that kind of thing. The problem is the game is designed with those maps. Like, there's no environmental clues or anything like that. And you just kind of notice a lot of copying and pasting, and that it just doesn't work very well. The games that do that, and I'm not even talking about Souls games, the games that do that, they'll tell you, oh, you want to go up the road, hang a left at the big tree kind of thing. They don't give you enough of that in a lot of games where you can turn that stuff off. Now, I can't say anything about Horizon, though, because if it's asking you to turn it off at the very beginning, maybe they did spend the time and put that stuff in. But most of the time I find it kind of lacking. And there's a difference between not having quest markers on and just not having any idea what the fuck you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, he didn't know you could do that. He's like, I'm going to turn them off right now. So there you go. But yeah, as to the question itself, is there a genre you used to love that you can't get into anymore? I hate to say this.
I know what it is.
All right, let's see if you know.
I know what.
Yeah,
I take a second guess.
Yep. Yeah, Manny, you already know. Fighting games were my genre in the 90s. I was the shit. But now it feels like I know I've said this on the show many times. It feels like you got to have a fucking PhD to get into these games. You got to know so fucking much. You got to spend so much time. And then the fact that and I know this was a problem back in the day too, right? But with like Street Fighter 2, Street Fighter 2 Turbo, Street Fighter 2 Hyper, I know I get that. But I don't like these season passes where you get the game and then it's like, oh, here's a season. Here's some more characters. Like, I don't want to deal with this shit. And it just seems like the games are just way too catered for the FGC crowd. It's like fighting games used to be kind of for everybody. Now they're just for these people, and that's it. And that kind of bothers me.
And there's a whole bunch of terminology that's attached to it. And I really, I mean, obviously, everybody's treating it more as not as a fun thing, but as a more mechanical thing.
Yeah.
And I mean, I understand why they see it that way, because that's just the way the world is sort of turned. But for me, at least for that side of it with fighting games, I just don't pay attention to any of that sort of terminology, and I just sort of keep up the walled garden. I don't even go online to play those games.
Yeah, the genre is just not as fun as it used to be. And I remember, obviously, because when we were playing fighting games, it was just our little community, and that was that. I come to play with these guys. They're doing stuff that we would never even consider. Like they're like, "Who's your main?" I'm like, "What do you mean a main?" He's like, "The guy who you always play as." I'm like, why would you just play as one character? There's 30 of these motherfuckers. Play as all of them. Get as good as with all of them. But again, they're not thinking about having fun. They're just thinking about, I need to get good with this specific character, so when I go online, I can fuck all these people up. Like, where's the fun in that, man? It's like there's a bunch of characters. Go pick them all out, try them all out. Yeah, like you have your characters that you like that you prefer, but it's like cycle them out. But
our day of fighting is dead because like you're saying, you go to the arcade, right? You put your quarter down, you have fun, right? And if you know the moves, you like, okay, I know how to dragon punch, I know how to fireball, I know how to throw a sonic boom. Like, these things. These guys are on another level. They're like, okay, it's 7 frames when I throw the fireball to do this, and then I can cancel it and go into this and do a mix-in. And I'm like, whoa, this is like another language.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You need a fucking PhD for this shit.
No, man. I'll say this. Two of my best friends, they're like massive Street Fighter, or they were massive Street Fighter fans. They realized all of those things, all the frame traps, doing all those things. And we went to Japan, and we went to the arcades. We played against a Japanese dude. Yeah, the dream died there.
Yeah, there you go. They thought they were nice, Well,
it's fun. Like, we, if any of that, like, that's one thing you learn in New York right away. As soon as the Asian kid shows up at the thing, you're done.
Yeah.
That dude shows up, you're like, oh, here we go.
Yeah,
I wouldn't even challenge that because they do get mad, right? What they did. When you beat them, so like, all right, I'm just staying away, bro. I'm staying away.
Yeah,
but
the tiger mom just comes out of the thing. You failed.
Yeah. Yeah. So I it saddens me. But I said it on the last show. I'm like, I think I'm done with Street Fighter, man. And Street Fighter was my fucking favorite game. But I think I'm done. Man.
I'm done with Street Fighter just for the plain of the style change. I don't like the way it looks anymore. And now it's gotten even more generic looking. Like, hey, look, it looks almost like Tekken now. So
yeah. Anyway,
I don't hate fighting. I can't say that I don't still play fighting games because I still pick up a fighting game. I eventually want to pick up the new Guilty Gear game. Maybe if they have a version of it where it has all the shit that's in it, so I don't need to buy fucking stupid season passes every 2 weeks.
Yeah, but again, that's another example too. Guilty Gear. I want to play these games, but it's too much. I gotta know too much. And that's how, like, every game, like Dragon Ball. I'm like, this is dope, and I play. I'm like, oh my god, like
that. I want to say that main menu in Dragon Ball FighterZ is an egregious, horrible menu. It is the worst. It's literally that little RPG guy you gotta walk
RPG.
around.
Oh yeah,
I like the little RPG stupid. Man. I agree with you. It's stupid, but I like the little RPG guy.
It looks cool, but I mean, put that in the fucking lobby. Like if you got like what they did with the previous Guilty Gear game. When you were in your lobby waiting to play the fighting game, you didn't need to do that. You just had your guy there. But this is the main fucking menu. You got to walk to the goddamn fighting mode.
Have you seen Have you seen what it looks like for Strive? It's even worse. It's some like 2D hotel thing you have to go through. It's like, why? Just give me the menu. What the fuck is this shit? So yeah, that's my answer. Manny, is that yours too?
Well, no, fighting games. I mean, it's not a genre I still play it from time to time, but it's not a genre that I sort of close the door on. You know what? I have to say, full on old school RPGs.
Ooh.
I don't hate them.
Yeah,
I don't hate them. I still love them, but I don't have the time to do it anymore. And this happened like, I want to say, I don't know, 13 years ago, which was the last RPGs that I played, like full on like turn-based RPGs. I just can't deal with the time that needs to go into one of those games anymore.
Yeah, I remember Rogue Galaxy was the last one you played.
Rogue Galaxy was the one I played. I played a lot of the way through, but then eventually I stopped. I just didn't have the time anymore. It's sort of like me and you switched places. You know what I mean? Like you're all into the 50 billion hour RPGs and stuff like that. I think you played, what was it, Tale of Zillia or whatever, one of those games.
Oh, Tales of Arise, the last one. Yeah.
And Persona. I just don't have the patience to play them anymore. While I still do respect them and want to play them, if I had the time, I can't do it. So I would have to say, classic JRPGs.
Manny, when we do what games we're playing, it's like 2022. Oh yeah, I'm playing Persona 5, and it's like 2023. What are you playing, Manny? Yeah, still chugging through that Persona 5.
No. Manny's like, I'm still playing Nier Automata.
Yeah, I mean, granted, like that's
Nier Replicant, I should say.
Nier Replicant. That's an action RPG, so it's okay. Like it's sort of, it is there, but I just it is a pretty long game. But I feel like I don't feel it as much as I would in the RPG, like especially with the grinding and stuff like that.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting because I always talk about how fucking long games are now, and I still play JRPGs. But here's the funny thing about that, because I was tweeting about how I wanted to play Elden Ring on Friday. It was one of those situations. The spirit was willing, but the flesh was weak. I was fucking tired, right? JRPGs, I like them because they actually are relaxing. I like the grinding and all that. There's no relaxing in Elden Ring. You know, there's no relaxing.
No, you have to be in your A game, man.
Yeah, and I like the stories and shit. They're really cool. I like the art style. I think they look more like anime now. I think that's really cool. So I really still really enjoy JRPGs, but I do agree they can be kind of long. That's why I was like, wait, Tales of Rise is only 80 hours long. It's short, you know.
Only 80.
Yeah, think about that. That's how long some of these fucking games are. You know, but this is also why I'm not gonna. I'll never. Sorry, Riku. So I'll never play the Legend of Heroes games. So you got to play those games like 300 hours. I'm like, bro, chill with that shit.
Not well. I mean, I played Legend of Heroes Trails in the Sky, and it was like 50, 60 hours, I think.
You play like me though.
Nah, I ain't a nerd.
You know. Oh man. All right. Probably do one more question before we wrap up here. Yeah, Mob Hits, he threw 5 questions. Damn, bro. We'll save some of these for another show, though. Actually, no, we could do some of these. One
rapid fire.
Yeah, we'll do rapid fire for two of these. Will we get mid-gen refreshes this generation? Probably not. I don't think so.
Yeah, especially
it's because of the chip shortage. That's what he's saying. Like, I don't think so. Well, I still believe we'll probably get slim. Hopefully, we get a slim version of this fucking beast. You know, but I'm pointing to my PlayStation, which is literally on my desk because that's the only place I can play because I can't fucking place it anywhere. You know, but no, mid-gen refreshes, I don't think that's going to happen this generation. And again, mid-gen refreshes were an answer to games not being in 4K. Like, I don't think 8K is going to become a thing right now anytime soon. You know, also because of the chip shortage, ironically enough.
Yeah,
you know,
and these fucking consoles can barely do 4K.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
Xbox hits it more than PlayStation does.
Yeah. So no, we're not gonna get those. Why doesn't Sony have a first-party RPG?
Rogue Galaxy was one.
No, he's talking about now. He's talking about now.
I mean, you know, I feel like, you know, their what their thing's working. You know, the Sony formula seems to be working. I think they'll hit. You know, think they'll hit it again if the landscape changes.
Yeah, I agree. All right, and then as for the final question of the night, this one we go a little deeper, even though it's speculation. With the official reveal of Street Fighter 6, do you think we're looking at a potential Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite scenario with what was shown? Will this game be do or die for Capcom at the FGC? Two kind of questions there. We don't know if it's going to be another. I hope it's not another Infinite situation. That game was fucking garbage. You know. I hope it's not. I don't think it's going to be as bad because it's still even Street Fighter. It's like, what is it? It's like pizza or even bad pizza, still good pizza. Street Fighter is like that, you know. So it'll still be fundamentally good, but so I don't think it's going to be another Infinite situation. But you know, I don't know. And as for, I don't understand. Moppets, you're here. Can you explain what you mean by it says do or die for Capcom and FGC? I don't understand that part of the question.
I guess you know, maybe like in terms of popular ways to have this in the fighting game community, you know, like when Street Fighter 5 came out, people were still doing Street Fighter 4 as the tournament game, as the main tournament game. So, you know, that community sometimes they adopt some parts of the franchise or they just, you know, stay back with the other ones. Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, if this is an exclusive to Sony again, to PlayStation, then I'm feeling like it's gonna stay because those motherfuckers are gonna try to make that shit ride with Evo, you know, and they're gonna promote the hell out of that.
Here's the thing, but Street Fighter was already kind of the de facto Evo game, regardless, you know.
Yeah, but like
now it's really gonna be the de facto game, you know.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, you know, normally, if like let's say Super Smash Brothers Melee came out and it's like the next one wasn't as good and it's like, oh, Super Smash Brothers Melee is still the FGC darling where that people will care about and want to see in a tournament.
Yeah. Again, we don't know. We all we saw was that trailer, so we have nothing to base it on. Yeah, that's that. All right, man. Let's wrap it up here. Do we have anything to plug? Manny, I'm looking at you.
Well, I mean, Excellence, the second Excellence graphic novel just came out from last week, so that's out in the field right now. And also, well, I mean, you know, you guys know I have a Transformers cover that I did for IDW that's going to be coming in the future, so stay tuned for that. I mean, I don't want to keep reminding you guys about it. You know, it's coming. And yeah, there's a lot of other things that I'm working on behind the scenes.
Ooh.
So stay tuned for those.
Some exciting things for sure.
Most exciting.
Also, I guess I'll plug something. Carlos, I may drag you in here for this one too. Because I will not. I mean, probably not Saturday, but this weekend that's coming, I will be doing a spoiler alert, or not spoiler, but a spoiler cast for the Batman. So, Carlos, you already know, man.
Oh yeah, I'm watching.
And Manny, we're watching that shit on Saturday. You'll be in town, you know.
Wait, what? This Saturday?
Yeah, because we're gonna see Dream Theater on Friday, right? You're staying over. We talked about this.
Oh shit! Totally forgot. All right, good to know.
Yeah.
I have to reschedule a plan that I had for this weekend.
Yeah. Because remember, you're coming over on Friday for Dream Theater, right? And you said you're going to sleep over, and then the plan was the next day I'll take you to the city, to Penn Station, and since the movie theater's right there, we go see Batman. You know,
it sounded like it's funny when we made that plan. It seemed like a world away.
Yeah. Oh, Logic Win says Dream Theater's awesome. My man knows. He knows.
Good shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, man, he just reconfigure stuff. Okay. But
the plan is to have the spoiler.
Probably Sunday. Sunday.
Sunday. Okay.
Yeah. Or maybe Saturday night for crazy, but that's probably not gonna happen. But
yeah, I'm seeing it on Friday, so I should be good.
Okay, so you wouldn't be opposed to doing a Saturday night.
I would not.
I'll talk to Dana about it because I'm down. I'm down for Saturday night as well. Saturday,
man, especially fresh out the gate, man. If it's good, imagine. If it sucks, imagine.
Yeah. No, I'll do that shit from my phone as soon as I get out. Y'all listen to the spoiler cast. Let's go.
Saturday night at the movies. Who cares what pictures you see?
Yeah. Make sure to stay tuned to I Am Negan, Walking Dead proper. Is me and Richard Bailey Jr. and our very own Carlos Romero. And, we talk things the mothership. And, we're in the final season. And there's part 2 of 3. And, we gotta have something. And, Walking Dead is back. I Am Negan on Spotify, on all the podcast streams.
The Nuke.
The Nuke and the coalition.com. You can catch on that. And see you soon.
Oh man, good stuff. All right, people, we are out of here. Shout out to everybody in the chat. You guys are awesome, keeping it lively in there. Semi talking shit. I like that too. All right. All right. So make sure you follow Throwdown on Twitch and Twitter. And join the Discord where Mob Hits is always dropping the craziest rumors. Again, I don't know where my man finds this shit, but I appreciate that. We can follow Throwdown on any podcast app by searching for Throwdown Show. That's 2 words, Throwdown Show, and visit throwdownshow.com to listen to past episodes. Also, if you are watching us on YouTube and you enjoyed the content, make sure you hit like, subscribe, and hit the bell to be notified of when we go live. There will be the YouTube premieres, I should say, Monday and Friday nights at 10:45 p.m. Eastern, man. And that's that. Oh yeah, obviously links to everything down below. Once again, our show host Tony Polanco, and tonight I was joined by Emilio Lopez.
See you next time.
Chris Seeley.
Hey, take care, everyone.
Carlos Romero.
16 more days. 16 more days. Later, people.
Brett Murdoch.
Immortal words of this message: fingers, butthole.
Yes. And
yo,
Brian,
go ahead.
Okay, after the show. And Brian Manjoma.
Last week, someone asked who would win between Forbidden West and Elden Ring. All I'm going to say is find someone who's still playing Forbidden West.
Oh. Whoa. Now me, I already got the platinum, baby. All right, people. We'll see you on Thursday. Later.
Deuces.
Leaders.